Velkommen og god dag alle sammen. Welcome back to the series where I am speaking about Havamal and giving some extra little information that you need. I'm looking at every stanza in this poem and giving a summary and explanation. And when applicable, I will give you a couple little bonus notes about the history of the pre-Christian Scandinavians from the actual sources, because there are some things that many people forget and don't know. And understanding these things will give you a better understanding of the meaning behind some of these stanzas in Havamal that can be a bit more confusing. So we left off at number 4. Here we are at number 5. And again, there are so many translations on these. You can read whatever you want, but I'm reading from Benjamin Thorpe's. Wit is needful to him who travels far. At home all is easy. A laughing stock is he who nothing knows, and with the instructed sits. Okay, so this one here is pretty clear. You have to be smart if you want to travel far away, pretty much is what they're saying. A dumbass can function just fine at home in his little village, but it takes someone with wit and wisdom to travel to different places and basically survive back then. And this was very true. It's true today, but it would have been even more true in ancient times. It was a lot more dangerous, and things could go a lot further south. They could go wrong if you were not smart enough when you were traveling on your journeys. So this one's pretty simple. Next ones, 6 and 7. I'm gonna read these together because they go together really. Of his understanding, no one should be proud, but rather in conduct cautious. When the prudent and taciturn come to a dwelling, a harm seldom befalls the cautious. For a firmer friend no man ever gets than great discernment. Okay, and this is stanza number 7. A wary guest who to refection comes keeps cautious silence. With his ears listens, and with his eyes observes, so explores every prudent man. So these two are a little bit more difficult, but it means basically if you show up at someone's place as a guest, then don't be arrogant and proud, but be cautious instead. If you are proud, you might miss or ignore some type of danger. Also, if you are proud, you might bring some danger towards you. If you are acting like an ass, someone might want to hurt you, of course, is what they're saying. But if you go into a property as a guest, you should be humble and cautious, because it will probably make the host respect you more and not want to harm you and keep you away from danger. And even if they do harm you and want to, you will be cautious and ready for it. So again, this is great advice in stanzas 6 and 7. On to stanza number 8. Reading here. He is happy who for himself obtains fame and kind words. Less sure is that which a man must have in another's breast. So this one's also a bit difficult. There's lots of different translations for this stanza, but basically it means that you should learn to be happy because of the things that you think about yourself. You cannot control what others think about you always. So if you're constantly seeking others' validation to make yourself happy, then your happiness rests on others' hearts, of course, like it says there. But if you become happy when you think good things about yourself, then that is the way to secure happiness. So good advice here. It just has to do with self-confidence. It is a little bit conflicting with what we see in the Old Norse sagas and literature, because the Vikings valued reputation very, very much. It was very, very important as to what others thought about them, both in life and in death. But what this stanza is saying is, don't let that affect your happiness. Yes, it's always nice when you have a good reputation and people like you, but don't let that be your only source of happiness, is the whole point of this stanza. So on to the next one. This is stanza number 9. This one's a bit similar to what we last did. He is happy who in himself possesses fame and wit while living, for bad counsels have oft been received from another's heart. Okay, so I guess similar to the last one, but a bit different. You should be happy when you take your own advice, because if you take someone else's advice, then it could very often be bad, is what this stanza is saying. Now, this one is very interesting because in the sagas and literature, we do see kings and many other people actually taking advice from others. I mean, we see examples of kings taking counsel from their subjects, or even seers, or witches, or scythe women, or people casting lots, throwing dice, or sacrificial chips for divination and advice. So we do see this a lot in the sagas. But the king in the sagas never seems to act on this right away, interestingly enough, even though they receive pretty clear advice about traitors or war or something like this, for example. The king does not seem to usually act on it right away. He acts on it after he's thought about it for some time, and after he's made up his mind himself. One of the most famous examples of this is Harald Fairhair. If you read Egil Saga at the very first part, it's one of my favorite parts of all the sagas there. Yeah, again, very, very good advice here. You can definitely take advice from others, but don't act upon it until you make up your own mind about the decision, because that's what leads to happiness, taking responsibility. That's about it for this video. We will go on to the next stanzas in the next video. Vi ses nästa gång.